Have you ever wondered how the rivalry between Ford and Sloan changed the way we drive today? In this video, you'll explore the legendary rivalry between Ford and Sloan, two titans of the automotive world, and how their competition shaped the future of car manufacturing. From electric starters to affordable pricing, their battle for supremacy pushed the boundaries of innovation and forced each other to reinvent themselves. By the end of this video, you'll understand how their epic struggle continues to influence the cars we drive today. Throughout the 20th century, the automotive industry was rapidly evolving, and Ford and Sloan were at the forefront of this revolution. Their rivalry was more than just about selling cars, it was about changing the way people lived, worked, and traveled. As we dive into their stories, you'll discover how their intense competition led to breakthroughs in design, engineering, and marketing that transformed the industry forever. The early 20th century was an era of unprecedented growth and change in the automotive industry. As more Americans began to buy cars, manufacturers like Ford and Sloan struggled to keep up with demand. But it wasn't just about meeting demand, it was about staying ahead of the competition. Ford and Sloan faced numerous challenges, from improving manufacturing efficiency to responding to changing consumer preferences. In the early 1900s, Ford was the dominant player in the industry, with its revolutionary assembly line production method. But Sloan had a vision for General Motors, focusing on style, comfort, and customer satisfaction. As the car market grew, so did the stakes, and Ford and Sloan became locked in a battle for supremacy. One of the key challenges both companies faced was innovation. With new technologies emerging every year, they had to stay on top of the latest trends to remain competitive. From electric starters to hydraulic brakes, Ford and Sloan invested heavily in research and development to stay ahead of the curve. Another major challenge was market competition. With more players entering the market, Ford and Sloan had to differentiate themselves from the rest. They did this by targeting specific demographics, like young professionals or families, and creating cars that catered to their needs. Consumer demands were also shifting rapidly. As incomes rose and credit became more accessible, people wanted more than just a basic mode of transportation, they wanted style, comfort, and prestige. Ford and Sloan responded by introducing new models, features, and brand identities that resonated with the emerging middle class. Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company, was a pioneer in automotive manufacturing. He revolutionized the industry with the assembly line, making cars more affordable and accessible to the masses. Ford's business philosophy was centered around efficiency, simplicity, and standardization. Alfred Sloan, on the other hand, was a master strategist who transformed General Motors into a powerhouse of innovation and design. Sloan's philosophy was focused on differentiation, segmentation, and customer satisfaction. He believed in offering a range of models and brands to cater to different consumer preferences. One of the most significant differences between Ford and Sloan was their approach to manufacturing. Ford's assembly line method was efficient but inflexible, whereas Sloan's approach at General Motors was more adaptable and responsive to changing consumer demands. When it came to marketing, Ford and Sloan had vastly different strategies. Ford focused on functionality and affordability, emphasizing the durability and practicality of its cars. Sloan, on the other hand, emphasized style, comfort, and prestige, creating brands like Cadillac and Chevrolet that resonated with the emerging middle class. As the rivalry between Ford and Sloan intensified, it led to some pivotal moments in automotive history. One of the most significant was the introduction of the electric starter in 1914, which revolutionized the way people started their cars. Ford was slow to adopt this innovation, giving Sloan's General Motors an opportunity to take the lead. Another turning point was the introduction of the Chevrolet Coupe in 1915, which became an instant hit and forced Ford to respond with its own stylish models. The competition was heating up, and the stakes were high. The 1920s saw a major shift in the automotive market, with Ford and Sloan adapting to changing consumer demands and technological advancements. Ford introduced the Model A, which became an instant success, while Sloan's General Motors continued to innovate with new models and features. As the Great Depression hit, Ford and Sloan faced their greatest challenge yet. With sales plummeting, they had to reinvent themselves to stay afloat. Ford responded by introducing the V8 engine, while Sloan's General Motors focused on more affordable models and financing options. Throughout the 20th century, the rivalry between Ford and Sloan continued to shape the automotive industry. From the introduction of the Mustang and Camaro to the rise of electric and hybrid vehicles, their legacy continues to influence car manufacturing today. In conclusion, the legendary rivalry between Ford and Sloan was more than just about selling cars. It was about changing the way people lived, worked, and traveled. Their epic struggle pushed the boundaries of innovation, forced each other to reinvent themselves, and transformed the automotive industry forever. If you enjoyed this deep dive into automotive history, be sure to check out our other videos on influential figures in business and share your thoughts in the comments below.